Hi, this is James Eng, and today we're going to be talking about 7 questions to consider in 2021. So, I was listening to a podcast, and these were the 7 questions that they brought up that I thought should help you in sort of formulating what you're going to work on in 2021. And really starts number one with passion, number two with what problems do you help people solve, and then number three is how can you actually help people delivering this solution? And then what do you have results in? How do you stand out? And then will people actually pay you to do this? And the last question really is what business do you want to be in? So I'm going to take this from the perspective of myself and then really apply it to general partners and limited partners. So when you first think about it, like what are you passionate about? Like whether it's for me, really starting back in 2010, 2011, 2012, I was really like Dave Ramsey, Robert Kiyosaki, personal finance, and then really 2014, 2015, really learning about multifamily financing and investing. And then really over time, learning more and more about entrepreneurship. So that has driven me in a direction of financing and investing within multifamily. So, number one, figure out what you are passionate about. Number two, what problem do you solve? Right. So, every business needs to solve a problem. And, whether it's education, whether it's helping investors, figure out what problem do you solve. And so, to me, it's a combination for myself of really helping investors first get educated in the business, but then also walking them through the process of financing a property, right? So a lot of people, this is their first deal, second deal, third deal, and there's a lot of money at stake. And so making sure that they get through the process of financing their deals and closing on time and on the terms presented. Number three is how can you help people, right? And so, whether it's education piece, financing deals, and then really, I think the third thing on here really for me is connections before a transaction, during a transaction, even after the transaction, because in multifamily real estate, I think a lot of times there is a lot of ramp up, right? There's a lot of people that you need to know before a deal, even during a deal. When there is a lot of pressure, you have hard money on the line, and then after the transaction. So, in terms of helping people, it's really not only the education, not only the financing, but the connections throughout. Number four, what do you have results in, right? And so I didn't really realize it at the time, but when you're underwriting deals, looking at a lot of transactions, when I was at GE Capital, a lot of different transactions, whether they were bridge, CMBS, whether it was office, industrial, multifamily, self-storage, that sort of set the foundation for me in terms of underwriting deals and seeing why deals broke, why deals came back to us, after giving a bridge loan and having to take the property back, what broke into those properties. So that sort of set the foundation. But then the last 5 years have really been focused on financing properties, right? So financing close to over 14,000 units across 125 properties. You start seeing trends very quickly around what properties are doing in terms of occupancy, in terms of rents, in terms of submarkets, which ones you like, which ones are improving, and then also investing in multifamily properties. And once you put money in a deal, you track that deal a lot closer than pretty much any other deal. So invested in 28 properties, and then there's been about 10 that have sold just in the last 2 or 3 years. So hitting about an average IRR of 26%. Obviously, the market has done well. The market has improved. And I would say most people are forecasting closer to 15% IRRs now in the current market. Number five is how do you stand out, right? So there's a lot of people who are going to be doing what you do. So you've got to have different things that are going to attract people to you. So, I was born and raised in Texas, in Houston, went to school in Austin at UT, and then have lived in Dallas now for 16 years. And so having a good understanding of the market that you're in, talked about how I was a loan underwriter, an originator of loans, and then also an investor. So, I think, most people who do what I do are more of a sales guy and not an educator. And so, I'm not the best cold caller. I'm not the best guy who's going to come out and just push on you as a sales guy, but I'm an educator, right? And so that's why what people are attracted to. And a lot of times, if I look at a deal and I don't think it's a good deal for my client to buy, I'll tell them, hey, this is a tougher area. Hey, this is going to be harder to finance. This might not be the best deal for you. And as a sales guy, that doesn't get more loans done, right? But I want my clients to be long-term clients who not only do deals, but do good deals. And they're around not just for this cycle, but for the next cycle. Number 6 is what will people pay you for, right? So, we get paid to help people finance multifamily properties. So whether that's giving them connections, insights, off-market deals, that's what people pay us for. I have a couple online courses for people who want to do it on their own, or just want to learn about the business. Financing multifamily properties, you obviously put up a lot of earnest money. We charge typically 1% of the loan amount. So it's a lot of money. So not a lot of people are going to do deals as a general partner or a limited partner, even this year, and they want to learn about the process. And so that's why we have different levels, right? So that's number 6. And then number 7, what business do you want to be in? So I'm focused on financing multifamily properties and investing in multifamily properties. And a lot of people who are mortgage brokers, they do a little bit of everything. And it becomes, I think, more and more difficult. The same way that when you are looking for a doctor for an operation, you don't want a generalist, you want the best in that space. And so we have focused on niching down to multifamily properties, and that is what I focus in on. So that is how I answered the 7 questions. What I'd like to do is really look at, from a general partner's perspective and limited partner's perspective, touch on a couple of these questions as you think about them. So as a general partner, the problem that you solve is that, I'm jumping to number 2. The problem that you solve is that you're giving higher returns through real estate to limited partners. And the question is, can you, if you have a general partner who goes out and finds the deal, can you raise the equity from limited partners, right? And so you might need to bring someone else on the team who helps you raise equity. So number 2 is, what problem do you solve? All right, let's go back to number 1. What are you passionate about? So, from a general partner's perspective, what I've seen is, working with hundreds of general partners, is that the people who do well, the people who are able to push through the dip of multifamily investing, is that this is really their full-time gig. They are focused in on this, and they are going to push hard through this. And in terms of, really to make it as a general partner, you need to be doing probably 1 or 2 deals a year, and to really make this a sustainable business for you. We talked about number 2. Number 3 is, how can you help people? So as a general partner, you're giving returns to investors who don't have access to deals. They don't have the time to go out and find the deal, raise the equity, actually be on the property and asset manage these properties. They don't have the equity to buy a 200 unit property on their own. They have 50,000 or 100,000. And so you're helping these people get access to deals that they would not necessarily have. So that's number 3. Number 4 is, what do you have results in? So this really goes back to the track record that you have. Do you have a track record in multifamily already? Does your property management team, do the other sponsors on the team? What do you have results in? So articulating that message to limited partners. Number 5, how do you stand out? And I think this is becoming bigger and bigger. There's so many general partners now on social media, on different platforms. What's going to make you different? What are people going to remember about you? What is in your background? So being able to articulate that story. And then also, when you go to raise money from limited partners, I use the, analogy of, are you fishing in a pond with 100 hooks or just your hook, right? So if you are part of an investor group, or you have built your own investor group and those investors only see 1, 2 deals a year and they come from you, then the probability of you raising money on your deal is a lot higher than if there's a large pool and everybody is fishing in that pond. And so making sure that you're raising equity from different sources, but then also people who are really who know you, who trust you, and then also they are not seeing a ton of deals is, I would say, number 5. Number 6, what will people pay you for? You know, obviously you get paid, with an acquisition fee, equity, asset management fee, disposition fee. But what, you're really only as good as your last deal. And so, what people are paying you for is really just this ability to return not only their capital but also to make a return on their capital. And so that is what people are paying you for. And number 7, what business do you want to be in? Um, as a general partner, your job is really to find deals and raise equity, right? And make sure those deals perform. So I guess there's 3 things: find deals, raise equity, and help make sure that deal performs. And so a lot of times that is split up between the sponsorship team. So thinking about what is going to be your main role on the sponsorship team is key as a general partner. And if you are going to do this full time, figure out how much in properties, how many units do you need to buy? How big of deals do you need to buy to really replace your full-time income? So this is a little bit shorter for limited partners, but still thinking about these questions as a limited partner, I think is important because, if you're not passionate about multifamily investing, that's fine. You could be passionate about your current job or your current business, and that could make you a lot more money and capital to actually invest in multifamily real estate. So multifamily for a lot of people is not really like the sexiest thing in the world. The most exciting thing for them. So if you are more passionate about your current job or business and you can make more money doing that, then focus on that and then invest in multifamily as a diversification play away from your business that's separate from that, and then also get the tax advantages of it. And then in terms of what problem do you solve? You're giving equity to general partners. You might sign on the loan as a key principal. Number 3 is how can you help other people? Educating others on multifamily investing. What do you have results in? Really, a lot of times your results are from your job or business that you're creating capital to invest in. And then this one, I would say, is probably one of the most important questions as a limited partner is how do you stand out? And so a lot of times general partners, their deals fill up quickly. And do you have connections or access to more investors or industry contacts that help a general partner, right? So if you stand out in a good way as a limited partner, you're going to have access to more deals. Some limited partners, they stand out in a bad way. And that can be, just onerous questions. It can be, there's a lot of things that you can do that get in the way. And I'm trying to think of some right now that some limited partners that are not even, they're off the list of general partners because they either were a distraction or they just needed too much attention from the general partners, and they just won't let them in their deals. And so as a limited partner, you want to stand out in a good way and add value to your general partners. And then, number 7 is what business do you want to be in as a limited partner? And really, it's passive income that's coming in monthly, quarterly, without you really doing any work, except your job is really choosing the sponsor and then underwriting the deal once they receive it or once you receive it. And I want to wrap up with this quote from a book called The Art of Work by Jeff Goins. He said, "The future belongs to those who learn more skills and combine them in creative ways." And so when you're thinking about these questions, these 7 questions, how are you adding new skills to your toolbox, right? And so as a general partner, How are you building different skills, right? I think that's what has taught us the last year is that in 2020, there really wasn't in-person networking. So how did you build new skills to create, whether it was a platform or an audience for yourself to meet investors? What did you attend? What did you grow in 2020? And I think 2021, it will continue to be that way, is that you're going to have to learn new skills to attract investors, to find deals, because that is going to differentiate you from everybody else. So here, just a snapshot of my background again, in terms of underwriting, lending, investing, and then really, next steps is definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the video, share the video. If you need help with a term sheet or reviewing a deal, send me an email, T12 rent roll OM, or the investment package. And then really to get sort of pre-qualified for your next deal, complete a personal financial statement, set up a time to talk with me via email here at my email, or give me a call. And I appreciate you watching today.